Hello everyone and welcome to the 1988 Montreal Grand Prix, 500 kilometers northeast of where I reside, so this is going to be my hometown race, sort of, if that counts. But we're going to hopefully ride the Canadian flag well and drive it to the finish and hopefully score points, maybe get a podium, maybe even get a win. That would be really nice, but we'll see what happens. Circuit Gilles Villeneuve is one of the hardest, but one of the most fun circuits in the calendar. It's very, very twisty, turny through the first two sectors. It's got the first corner, which is kind of similar to the one in China, where it's like an endless sort of loop that you never really stop doing. And then we've got some 3S turns that are very, very difficult to really nail fully, to really brake on time and to hit both apexes and then to exit, because you always want to keep the back end in line, but you're turning while you're accelerating, so without traction control it's kind of difficult to hit those. But then we get the fast section, which has the weird chicane in it, which should be quite awkward to look at for people that are familiar with the current layout of the track, but still, though, the Wall of Champions chicane is still there. It's faster than it used to be. I mean, it's faster than what it is now, but it's still a very fun track to drive, and it's one of my favorites. So I'm going to try to enter the unpleasant part of the calendar, which is Detroit and Nordschleife, on a good note and hopefully finish somewhere close to the front, maybe even win. But we'll see what happens. See you guys in the race. Alright, welcome everyone to the Canadian Grand Prix, my home race. In fact, I was here back in, I think, 2005 when the V10s were still roaring around the circuit. And I'm pretty sure 8-year-old me had to go get a change of pants when he heard the V10s go by for the first time, because, man, those things were loud. Nothing to say against the current cars. In fact, the current cars, the 2017 spec, are probably the fastest F1 cars ever. They just don't sound as good. I'm not the kind of person that will hate on an entire generation of vehicles just because they don't sound that great. And from what we know, they are planning to re-implement some sort of noise to these machines in the coming years. But this is all just speculation. We might just go to Formula E type engines. But that's beside the point. We managed to only qualify 7th, which isn't horrible. I just don't know how I could possibly manage to tie Alain Prost's pace, because that is, oh boy, that's a fast lap. I know for a fact that I have a low 125 in me. In fact, I did a 125.3 in practice for this race. But I don't know, qualifying was weird for me. My first time out, I got completely, it just got ruined by back markers that were in front of me. And then the second time out, I don't know, I felt like my lap was good, but I felt like I still had pace to make up. So this second behind Prost time isn't really the most accurate representation of where my pace is as far as this race is concerned. But out of nowhere, Nelson Piquet managed to qualify 3rd. So that was kind of a surprise, pleasant surprise. Riccardo Patrese managed to get 5th in front of Berger in the Ferrari. But we all know that on this circuit in particular, only really in Sector 3 does car power even matter. And the issue here is that my pace in the first two sectors isn't that good. In fact, I make up most of my lap time in the 3rd sector, which is good because the run out of the final chicane and onto the start-finish straight is probably the best passing opportunity on the entire circuit. So we shall see. Let's go on to the race. It is going to be a 22-lap race, and I want to give myself some clean air to work in, because in the Mexican Grand Prix, I lost a lot of time just dealing with the AI. I felt like I was being pretty significantly slowed down, but in that race I qualified 1st. I know I had the pace over everybody, but in this race I don't, so I'm gonna have to strategically undercut the AI by making an early pit stop. At least I feel like I should. So what I'm going to do is, in this 22-lap race, I'm going to drive 8 laps. Let's fuel for 8 laps. Let's do like an extra 2 liters in case I run out. But from what I've driven, I think the fuel use is pretty accurate. Like, I managed to just drive 3 laps on 3 laps worth of fuel, so we'll see. But I'll do 8 and then I'll stop. And then I'll do a 14-lap stint. That's a little much. I'll fuel for 16 just so I know for sure that I have enough at the end of the race. But yeah, I don't know. I really have no idea how this race is going to play out. I'm hopefully going to stay in the contention. I want to score at least a podium in this race. You know, it's go Canada, yay. But I'm hoping to stick around like the top 6-ish at the start. I'll probably lose a couple spots again off the starts because my starts are horrendous. But again, the first turn is good times to make up some places because there's going to be commotion. But that's a double-edged sword because, you know, front wing and stuff can also come flying off. So we'll see. Anyway, time for the race. I don't know what's going on. It's always very tight through here. There's a march on our inside. Oh, and he's forced this. Oh my god! I'm not quite sure what happened there because we got hit. Because I think the march was trying to make a move. I think the march was trying to make a move on Patrizi. And he forced us wide, but we had no space to go. But now there's a giant gap in front of us. But I think we're okay. I think we still have our wing. I want to just prevent the dive here. But this gap to the leader should get slightly smaller in this last sector because I know that I'm faster here. The corners that are really, really fast and really, really like close to the curbs are the ones where I know that I'm faster than the AI. Just like that, the gap just closed by about a second. I just want to preserve these tires. Make sure I get them to my pit stop and then change them. Hopefully I actually get them changed this time around. Still not quite familiar with how pit stops work in rFactor, but I'm learning as I'm going. But I'm just trying my best to keep it clean through the S-turns here because they're very tough to pull off. The two fundamental differences between Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in '88 and Circuit Gilles Villeneuve now is, one, the third sector. There's no big chicane thingy that's here right now. And two, the curbs aren't nearly as tall and punishing because these curbs are crazy high. They're not quite the level of evil that Imola reaches, but they're pretty bad. Oh, and I messed up this first corner. Not too bad though. But I do have some clean air to operate in. I want to keep an eye on my mirrors, make sure there's no moves up the inside coming up, but I think there's a bit of a gap, so I think we're okay. I just want to make sure I don't lose this gap too much. And don't give up too big of a lead from the McLarens, because they're pulling ahead from what I can see. And back end, please. Capelli is right behind us again. Ugh. I just want to finish this race, to be honest. I mean, I want to finish it in the points, preferably, because I am the points leader right now. Oh, that was a little messy. You don't want to ride those curbs too much, though, because they're they are quite rough on your suspension. The suspension right now in 88 isn't nearly as good as it is in 2017. And because of the way curbs are, mounting them like that is kind of scary. You can go flying if you don't do it well. Also, there's one chicane here with an absolutely evil curb. I think it was just mismodeled. But if you hit the front end of the curb, you'd stop dead. The one of the upcoming chicane. So you really cannot run wide through here. Because that outer curb is really tough. But we're still losing ground in the leaders. Let's hope this undercut strat will work because we're constantly under the attack here. Well, not really. But coming into the hairpin, it's a little close for comfort. Just like that. No touching the curbs. Want to come as close as possible, but never actually really hit them. Four laps complete. We're halfway through our first stint. Oh boy. And we're starting to get a little bit of clean air. The one thing I did is I lowered the limiter to 10% now. So the air limiter I think started at 15. Then I dropped it to 12, and I still wasn't quite happy with how close the pack got by the time pit stops happened. So it's now 10%, and I think this is where I'm going to keep it, because I actually like what's happening right now with the pack. They've got kind of separate trains here. I'm holding up the two marches. Slightly behind them is Petresi, who had quite an unlucky first sector on the first lap. I might have had something to do with it, but I don't think so. I don't think I had too many options. I got forced almost completely off the track there. But as long as I keep Berger in my sights, we're good. This gap is nice. These little circular exits are quite tough to judge with your accelerator. Because if you get on the brakes, if you get on the gas too aggressively, then you just spin your back end and you lose a lot of time. And also because you're turning the car as you go, you can also just completely lose the back end and just spin in a circle. Which is something that's going to be a very serious problem for me in Detroit. I hate Detroit. I really do. I think it's the worst circuit on the calendar. We're getting quite close here. I might actually get to fight this pack. But again, this gap's going to enlarge throughout the course of the lap, so not really. My goal is not to fight. My goal is to keep up with. Very slippy through there, but whatever. I can deal with it. A little lid on the brakes there. Actually, no, that's fine. But at the end of the next lap, we'll be coming in, and that will be our only pit stop for the race. And hopefully the back markers aren't too far behind, and I get some clean air to do some nice laps. I think I'm fine for fuel. It'll be close, but I'll make the lap. I'm sure I will. Okay. Luckily we are damage-free from what it looks like. All right. I was a little early on the brakes, but whatever. Not too bad. Just want to get this pit stop over with. And we made it. And we made it. Okay, good. Whew. I mean, unfortunately, joined in traffic. This is bad. I didn't think they'd be that far back, but I guess they are. So now we got to fight. But I'm sure that these guys we can pass. That was a little gross. Please no dive bombs. Gonna cover the inside. Now, new tires, I should be able to be a little more confident, but this is gonna be tight. Might have to go around the outside, but we got the inside line. We got this corner. Okay. See, look how slow they are through here, jeez. And we got 2 spots there. That was nice. They're still doing a little bit of a brake checking thing across the start-finish line, but this isn't nearly as bad as Paul Ricard. Don't know what that is. But in this scenario, I'm gonna take what I get. Ah. A little slidey into that corner. Hopefully we can defend. Nicely done. Look how slow he is. Okay, P14. We're making our way up the spot. Oh boy. Haven't been really paying attention to the lap times, but I don't think they're being affected that much. Next up on our list is Palmer, who's a very similar name to Julian Palmer. He's currently one of the 2 disappointments of the year. I don't like talking about Stroll very much, but I don't know, I'm upset that we've got him as our next Canadian racer. I didn't think much of Jacques Villeneuve. He is a world champion after all, but I don't know. He was weird. Gilles Villeneuve was a fantastic driver, but unfortunately I wasn't alive to witness his driving. By the time I got into F1, Jacques Villeneuve wasn't doing that great either. But he was good enough. But Gilles was good enough to have an entire circuit named after him. That's the one we're driving right now. Back on the topic of Stroll, he just looks so shaky. I don't know. Oh, it's a little late. Now, I know that everybody that likes the younger driver scene, the fact that every team wants to cash in on having like an 18-year-old driver, they all make the excuses of, oh, he's young, he's inexperienced, this is like, he needs some time to learn and stuff. But like, if you're not ready to drive an F1, why are you driving an F1? I know it's a pretty bad comparison, but in his first actual year, Sebastian Vettel won Monza. So he drove in 07 as a test driver for Williams, I think. But by the end of the year, he had a contract with Toro Rosso. And that Toro Rosso wasn't a good car. I think everybody can agree that objectively that car was probably worse than the current year Williams. Oh, man. Completely understeered through there. That was gross. I don't think any damage was caused, but this is getting scary. The mistakes like these might cost me points. Please no contact, Torino. But now we got clean air to operate in. Actual clean air. No one in sight. And I know I've been saying this a lot, but like, I've also been messing up a bit. I want to get a good, nice, clean lap in here. And I'll say it again, These exits are really hard to nail. Very tough to not slide your back end. And not waste all this glorious power that we got. I think the Benetton is something like 600 something horsepower. 6 something. That frame rate was fun. Now there's another update to the beta. With each passing update, it seems like the frame rate in the spectator menu has been getting slightly better. But these occasional dips have been quite bad. We've managed the 125.6. I think that's the best lap of the race so far. Yep. You really gotta focus. I'm struggling to be able to talk while I drive, because this circuit is quite difficult. One messed up braking spot and you're pretty much done. As nice as the grass is, there's not a lot of it, and the walls are right there. Now we have been catching Cheever, which is good. And in front of him is PK. I think PK stopped. Unless PK had a run-in with somebody. I think he's already pitted. But again, he could have had a run-in with somebody. But if that is PK, then our strategy hasn't really worked that well. Now he's 3 seconds ahead, which isn't horrible, catchable. But he's on better tires. If he in fact switched for tires. But we shall see. I think we should be able to pass Cheever here. Oh, easily. Oh, and he just pits. Yep, so people are pitting. So in front is PK, and then it's Berger. Yep. So I think we haven't moved. From what I can tell, I think we're in our position. But we are catching PK, which is good. Because PK was P5, I think. No, he wasn't. He was ahead of the Ferraris. So I think the Ferraris managed to play him on pit stops. But I think we are in provisional P6 right now. That is if the people ahead still plan on pitting. Because there's at least 4 drivers that haven't pitted ahead of us. At least 4. It could be more. And also, I don't know if it was last lap, we managed to 125.1. Which shows that I still had pace in the bag. Oh, and that was really clean. So now we got ourselves a race. We're in P7, actually. I'm not sure if that's actual P7. Next lap we'll find out, because I think by next lap everyone should have fitted. But if this is actual P7, that's not good news. And we really got to catch PK and get this points. Because I want to score points. Always, always points. That's the focus. The gap is getting smaller. But I am missing apexes, which isn't good. But we ain't got a lot of time. Yeah, we're in P6. So we are still getting the 1 point so far. But I would really like to pass PK. I would really like to pass PK. But I don't know if this gap that he's making during the first two sectors is going to be small enough for me to really capitalize at the end. I have no idea who's leading this race. I don't think it's Alboreto. But it's very likely to be one of the McLarens. And if it is, then quick mental math tells me that I'll lose the lead if they manage to win this race. Because I'm currently sitting on 19. And McLaren that wins can have 22. Which isn't the best of news going into Detroit, because I know for a fact that I'm going to have a rough time scoring points in Detroit. $124.7, holy. A little lit on the brakes there. I'm going to slide a bit. But I really am trying to push. I'm only going to have 2 laps left after this, though. So I don't know if the gap is small enough. But I really am trying here. Catch PK, catch PK. The gap's so tasty. Right there. I just wish I wasn't so slow in this first part of the lap. Oh. was better. The Ferraris are right there too. But I don't know. I think we're just a little bit too far back. I'm gonna push, but we got a lap and a bit left. Please brake. Come on. Yes. All right. Now we got to hold PK off, because he's going to be faster than us. So this will be scary. Really got to watch my mirrors here. See where he is. Keep the back end clean. We're not getting to the Ferraris. No way. But we got one more scary corner to go, and then I think we're good. All right, I think we got him. So with this weird early pit stop, I'm not sure if that was late enough. I'm not sure if I made that stop late enough. Maybe it was a little too soon, because I joined in traffic. I'm not sure if that traffic was significant enough to really hinder my lap times, though, because I didn't feel like I was being slowed down that much. Maybe a couple of times to the last chicane, but really not bad. I don't think it was. I don't know how our strategy went. I'm gonna have to reassess it. I want to see what kind of laps the leaders were doing. I think it's pretty obvious that the two McLarens one-tubed this race. I think it's pretty obvious. Nope. Gonna cut the chicane. And I want to see what kind of laps they were doing towards the end of the race, if they were actually pulling off like 124.7s and stuff. There was quite a sizable gap behind me and PK. Like the top six were very far ahead of everybody else. So this time around, there actually was quite a sizable time gap between top six and then everyone else, which is good. Our teammate does not score points, so unfortunately Benetton is still a one-man team. I don't think it's as bad as Williams, but it might get to that point. But we got a P5, which is good considering we started it in P7, so we still got a gain of 2 spots. Unfortunately, we had to deal with the weird start-finish straight glitch, and unfortunately it played in our favor. So if the AI wasn't really stopping there, we might have been a little more behind. But at this point, the kind of laps that they were doing, let's see. Prost was doing just straight up 125s. I'm not sure. Well, I think the gap that he created by the end of the race was just too big for me to deal with. I was doing like, by the end I did a couple 124.7 and 8s, but I was mainly doing just like low 125s. I wasn't really much faster than these guys were. Really, I wasn't. He also stopped on lap 14. But I don't know. Maybe at the end of the race where we were slightly faster, but definitely not enough to make up for the gap that we lost at the start. Because at the start, we were really, really slow. I think towards the end of our first stint, we managed to get some of that gap back. But in the first few laps when our tires were cold and we were going defensive against the people behind us, we lost a lot of ground, like some serious ground. I ended up losing by 15 seconds, which I think is time that, I don't know. I don't know if I could have driven that race 15 seconds faster, but I'm sure that I could have had P3 if I had driven better in my first stint and maybe pitted a little later when I would have had maybe a gap in front of me or something to work with, because I still had to trail the AI and that might have been a loss of downforce or something. I don't know. Just making excuses at this point. I know for a fact that if I drove slightly better, I could have had P3. But we still managed to get points, so we got 2 points in our home race. So that was decent. It wasn't horrible. I think we're going to lose the lead of the championship because Prost is going to have 22 and we're going to be at 20. But we're going to be in second position. I think we're going to be tied with Senna and Alboreto potentially. Alboreto's at 15 and he gets 4, so he'll be at 19. Senna's at 13. He gets 6, so he'll be at 19. So yeah, we're in second position. But we're probably going to lose that in Detroit because I hate that track. But luckily after that, we're going to have our fantastic Nordschleife race, and I have no idea how that's going to go. Absolutely no clue. I'm going to practice rigorously for it. I really want to finish Nordschleife, but I might have to turn invulnerability on in order to make that happen because that race is going to be scary. But yeah, that was fun. That was a good race. That was actually kind of racy towards the end, and I managed to get the move on PK, even though it's kind of cheatsy, but whatever, I don't care. I'll take it. P5 in Canada. See you guys next time, and goodbye.